I'm Carrie. This is Student Loan Chit Chat. All right, this is a TikTok video. It's a little over 1 minute. It's by Jake with Operation Debt Free. He states that he has an unpopular opinion about student loan debt. I have heard the video, but I'm going to play it all the way through the first time, and then I'm going to stop and play it the second time around with my commentary. So let's go ahead and hear what he has to say.
I have an unpopular opinion on student loan debt. My name is Jake and I am in a little over $221,000 worth of student loan debt. And I feel a sense of responsibility to pay that money back. That doesn't mean that I want to. That doesn't mean that I enjoy being in that amount of debt and knowing that for years to come, a large amount of my income is going to be funneled towards paying that debt off. But I do realize that even though I may regret it now, I signed my name. I agreed to, at that moment, take that money out in anticipation of paying it back one day. Again, not happy about it, but I do feel like it is my job, my duty to pay it back. Does that mean that if a rich person stopped me walking down the street and offered to pay off my debt, that I wouldn't let them? No, I would let them, right? But it also means that I'm not going to go stand out with pitchforks and signs and fight to have it all completely done away with, all the debt just swept under the rug. I'm not going to do that. Again, I feel some responsibility to pay it back. Don't enjoy doing it, but I feel like it's right.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop it, and I'm going to play it now this time with my commentary. Sorry about the mouse running through there. I sometimes forget that I am recording this because I just get so engaged in what the person's saying. So now we're going to go ahead and do it with my brief commentary. All right, here we go.
I have an unpopular opinion on student loan debt. My name is Jake and I am in a little over $221,000 worth of student loan debt.
Now
and I feel a sense of...
I guess you have to stop in the middle of the TikTok there. All right. So he's in a little over $221,000 worth of debt. So we're talking a significant amount of money. What I would like to know is, what job does Jake do? Okay. In other words, what's his income? What is the job going to pay in relation to the debt load he has? So that'd just be an interesting thing to know.
Of responsibility to pay that money back.
Well, I'm going to be honest. I think most people, if not pretty much everybody who takes out a student loan, feels a sense of responsibility. I don't think that's an unpopular opinion. I don't think that's unique just to him. Okay. Even Dave Ramsey admits he went bankrupt in his 20s as he was trying to start up his business. I don't think that's an unusual or unpopular opinion at all. I feel a sense of responsibility to pay. I had a sense of responsibility to pay back my $110,000 student loan. I was very lucky that it was forgiven in 2022 due to the public service loan forgiveness waiver. But by all means, I felt a sense of responsibility to pay it back. Unfortunately, I did not understand. I was not literate in the student loan terms and arrangements of income-based payment. And considering that we have more than $1 trillion in student loan debt, everywhere from 10,000, 20,000 to $500,000 to $1 million, I would say a lot of people have not understood the terms of how student loans actually work, that they're amortized loans, that income-based does not work. And so I don't think you're unique at all in the sense of responsibility to pay the money back. I think that's pretty general across the board.
That doesn't mean that I want to. That doesn't mean that I enjoy being in that amount of debt.
That's true. And I think, again, I don't think that that's a unique position. I would like to know what your debt to income ratio is, because that's going to make a big difference in how much stress you will have. And again, there are plenty of people, including myself, we took out student loans with all the best intentions. And, life happens. And sometimes we realize too late that we are not as financially literate as we should have been or as we could have been. So hopefully you are in a much more financial literate position, and perhaps you can share with us your journey. I would actually love to follow it as you pay it back.
And knowing that for years to come, a large amount of my income is going to be funneled towards paying that debt off. But I do realize that even though I may regret it now, I signed my name.
What
Agreed to.
Whoops, I'm trying to control this mouse. I don't quite understand what he means by it, even though I may regret it now. What do you regret? You regret that you took out, probably with interest, okay, over $250,000 in student loans? Not quite sure what the regret is. That's the only thing I could think of. Not quite sure what the regret is. I don't imagine you would regret paying it back because as you have stated, you feel a sense of duty to pay it back. There should be no regret where you feel a sense of duty. I'm not quite sure what your regret is about.
To, at that moment, take that money out in anticipation of paying it back one day. Again, not happy about it, but I do.
I don't hear anything here that makes your opinion or what you're saying unpopular. I think what you're actually saying is very mainstream. Very mainstream. I think what happens at times is the media tends to lean on, certain voices get, more playtime because it sounds good or it sounds political. That might be, partly what you're, inferring perhaps. But as far as just the everyday student loan borrower, regardless of party, race, socioeconomic, or anything else, I don't hear anything that would be unpopular at all. Many of us took out loans. We did know that it would be a long-term payback, but unfortunately, many of us did not understand like I said, the amortization of the loan. Many of us did not understand that, what is it? The income base. This stuff is taught basically on the job as you go along. And unfortunately, for many people of all ages, myself included in my 50s, okay? Of course, I got the student loan in my 30s, all right? This stuff isn't explained. It's not explained. And, well, I certainly take personal responsibility for not understanding that well enough, okay? I don't think it makes what you're saying unpopular. In fact, I think what you're saying is actually very mainstream.
Do feel like it is my job, my duty to pay it back.
I don't know anybody that has a student loan debt that doesn't feel like they should pay it back. I really don't. I personally don't. I don't run around a circle of friends that go, hey, you know what? I got a student loan. Screw it. I'm not paying it back. I don't have this. And I've been in, as a teacher, I've worked in education. I've known tons of people with student loans. I've never heard that out of anyone's mouth that, they're just not going to pay it back. Life situations and circumstances happen that keep them from paying it back. Everything from lack of financial education to unexpected medical, it's the list is endless on what can stop it.
Does that mean that if a rich person stopped me walking down the street and offered to pay off my debt, that I wouldn't let them? No, I would let them, right? But
okay, so I agree, and that's why people who can get public service loan forgiveness really need to get it. They really need to get on the public service loan forgiveness bandwagon if you are a public employee. Okay, so I guess, so to speak, that's your rich person walking down the street, Uncle Sam. I don't know how else to put it, okay? But I guess if you want to say who the rich fat cat daddy is, I guess it's Uncle Sam, right? And I don't know anyone personally that has stood out with pitchforks and signs. I think unfortunately what happens is in the media, you get a few people, okay, that, stand there. They're the same people screaming, don't make us ever pay rent, okay? It's the same crowd, but it's such a small part of the population that it's easy to build that up and think, man, that's everybody, either with that political party, or that's everybody that lives on this side of the country or in that state or in this neck of the woods, okay? But I don't know anybody that would actually disagree with what you're saying at all.
But it also means that I'm not going to go stand out with pitchforks and signs and fight to have it all completely done away with. All
Well, I can tell you with public service loan forgiveness, it came after I became a teacher. I never took out a pitchfork, stood out on top of my school desk and said, by golly, I want this whole sucker paid off. What happened was I became a teacher in 2006. 2 years, approximately 2 to 3 years, not more than that, after I became a teacher, the government introduced this program called, hey, Public Service Loan Forgiveness. Well, I'm no idiot, okay? I jumped on the bandwagon of what the government offered. I didn't need pitchforks or a sign, and I wasn't trying to sweep my debt under the rug, as I don't think anyone in public service does that, or in any other field. But no pitchforks and signs, but the government, through Congress, did enact the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program and basically said, hey, you qualify. I've spent 18 years in a middle school classroom. There are people who couldn't last one afternoon, right?
the debt just swept under the rug. I'm not going to do that. Again, I feel.
And I think that's great that you're not going to do that. And I can pretty much tell you that everybody who ever took out a student loan, okay, that I know of personally, all right, and the stories that I've read about from people's student loan debt, no one intended to do that. It's like saying we bought houses with the intention to foreclose or we got married with the intention of divorce. Yeah, there may be a few people who like, hey, F it, we don't care, okay, and they're getting married for the money and they don't care if it breaks up or not. But I would say the majority of people, we took on our houses, we took on our cars, we took on our student loans, we took on our relationships with all intention of making it work. You have all intention of making this nearly $250,000 debt go away, right? That is your intention. But sometimes your intentions don't match up to other plans that you did not know about. But that is your intention, as it was everyone else's. And people like me who got the PSLF waiver, for my 110, okay, call it luck, all right? But it doesn't change my intention was to pay off the debt. And when I realized I had made a very poor decision in getting a master's degree, 2 master's degrees, and realized I'd made a poor decision and that my debt in comparison to what I earned, I didn't make enough to pay it off. And due to medical reasons, it's very difficult for me to just go ahead and start working 2 full-time jobs. So I, being responsible, accepted that if I could not get the waiver for under PSLF, I would have to just accept that, guess what, 15%, maybe even more, is going to be deducted when I retired. That's all responsibility. Just because a person doesn't pay off their debt when their intentions were good doesn't mean that they were careless or irresponsible. It doesn't mean that. We can't just sweep everybody under the rug and say, well, that's what it means. Or people who use government programs that are totally legal, use it to pay off the debt. It doesn't mean their intentions were any less or greater or more than yours. So I'm glad you feel that responsibility to pay it back. Lots of us did. And I felt a responsibility to serve America's middle school students.
Some responsibility to pay it back. Don't enjoy doing it, but I feel like it's right.
I don't know anyone who enjoys paying back their student loans. And many people struggle to pay them back, and they are holding 2 jobs. Okay? Their kids sometimes, maybe lots of times, do without because they feel like it's right. I don't know anyone that says, man, paying back your student loans is totally wrong. And if you do hear that, that's probably few in the media that the media use for clip and sound bites. And I wouldn't give that too much weight.
I haven't.
Okay. So anyways, folks, that's the TikTok of du jour. All right. Really quickly, I will be uploading TikToks really just as I kind of feel like it. All right. And my uploads for my channel, I will be taking Fridays and Sundays off. There'll be no uploads on my channel pretty much those days, unless I feel like it. If you see an upload on Fridays and Sundays, that's just a perk. But otherwise, those 2 days are much needed rest days for me. All right. I'm Carrie. This is Student Loan Chit-Chat. I hope you'll consider subscribing and have a great night. I think it's Saturday night. Woohoo! Bye.